Okay, so welcome, and this is Darko Lab, and today we are looking at inheritance. The last time we met, our previous session, we looked at what we call object-oriented programming, which is basically classes and objects. And today we are looking at what we call inheritance. Okay, just think of it this way: inheritance is basically like you as a child, and you have your parent, and you inherit something from your parent, isn't it? But can your parent inherit something from you? It's not possible, right? But you, your child, can also inherit something from you. So we need to structure this in a real world case scenario where we can have the inheritance embedded in what? The parent class. So how do we come about these things that will help you have a solid and reliable and efficient what? Program. So let's look at some few things that we can do. So first of all, I'll create my new notebook. So let me create a notebook inside a class and objects folder. Okay. So I'll right click on this new file and then I'll say inheritance. Inheritance.ipynb. Okay. Now I have my notebook, which is inheritance.ipynb. I'll select my kernel, virtual environment. Now let me close this. Okay. Save. All right. Now we have this inheritance. So now let's look at what is basically inheritance. Okay. So I'm saying that inheritance in Python. Okay. So inheritance in Python, we are looking at what? What? It allows a class, okay, to inherit. That's why I gave an example of where I said, think of it like your parent, you as a child, and your parent. You inherit something from your parent, but your parent cannot, right? Okay. And your children can also inherit from you. So it allows a class to inherit attributes and methods. Okay, attributes and methods from another class. Okay, so basically this is what we mean by inheritance. It allows a class to inherit attributes and methods from another class. Okay, so when we come here, let's code. Let me do the normal coding, which is the classes and objects that we know. Okay, so we are looking at inheritance, and this inheritance we are looking at parent class. So the parent class that we did the last time, which was the classes and objects, where is basically our base class or the parent class. Okay, so we can have a parent class like car. Remember I said always let us capitalize each word. So now this becomes our parent class. Let me minimize this here. So now this is our parent class, and inside this parent class we can always, I taught you don't forget your constructor, which is the init function. So def what underscore init underscore into bracket. So now we always pass ourselves, and now aside the self, now this is a class which is called car. So inside the car by default we can pass some parameters or attributes, and these attributes could definitely be, let's say the car could have, every car have windows. Let's say the other one is, let's say doors. Let's say the other one is, let's say the engine type. Okay, sorry, the engine type. All right, now we have this class. Now inside this class we can pass each self dot what, the windows, right, is equal to what, windows. The same thing, self dot doors is equal to what, doors. Same thing, self dot what, engine type is equal to what, engine type. You see, and remember I told you that always this one can be any name, so these ones can be any name. Okay, but for a good practice this is how it goes. Okay, so this is for good practice, don't forget it. And then also now this is the normal one we know, isn't it, which we have a parent class. This is a parent class where we can define our class, and then we have our constructor. Inside our constructor we pass these objects which are instance of this class. See that these are the instance objects of this class. So these are the objects we'll be using. Okay, instance object of this class, and then we use the self so we can get these instance attributes and all that. Okay, of the class. And now we can have another one. Let's say the car, we drive it, right? So we can say you can have another function, say let's make it drive. So drive, inside the drive, then we pass only ourselves so we can get the instances. Now here, all that we will do is, we know already, we print into bracket. Let's use our f string, and inside the f string we are going to say the person will drive there. And here we pass the what? The engine type. The engine type. So we'll be able to know which car type the person is driving. You understand? So we are checking which car type is the person driving. And here we are saying that the person will be driving the engine type. But for me to be able to use this engine type, I need to bring what we call the self. Okay? Dots. Okay? So self dot what? Engine type. Okay? Then once here, I can say car. Sorry. Car. Alright? So now, this is good, this is correct, which when I come here, when I run this, so this is what we already know what we learned the last time when it comes to classes and objects. And when I come here, I can then like call these objects and all that. So I can say car1 is equal to, then I will say the car into bracket how many parameters. So you go and check 1, 2, 3. So 3 parameters. Then inside here, I can pass, let's say the windows are 4, comma, let's say the doors are 5, let's say it's a petrol car. So let's say it's a petrol car. Okay. Now, I need to make sure that now this car is a petrol car, isn't it? Now when I run this, I should get that the person will drive the petrol car here, because the engine type is what? Petrol. You see? So you see how this is normal for parent class definitions, and how we set it here, calling the object car1. We can call another object, or we can move ahead and say, let's call the instance of the object, which is what? The instance method of the object, which is drive. So car1 is equal to what? Drive. Okay? So when we call the instance method of this object, so this is an instance method. This is also an instance method, but it's also called what? A constructor. And these are always defined in a class. So always don't forget your constructor, which is also an instance method in this particular class, same as this, which is an instance method of this particular class. And we have the self instance of what? These what? Objects. You see the difference? Okay. Now when I come here and I run this, so car1 is equal to car into bracket 4, 5, comma, petrol. Okay, car1 is equal to drive. So what's the error? Name engine type. Oh, okay, I spelled it wrongly. So let me go here. Okay, I need to make it E. Alright, so now let's run again this one. Then we come here, we run this one. What else? Name drive is not defined. Drive. Oh, sorry, I didn't bring the. Why are we getting self def drive print this self dot what? Engine type. You get a correct spelling. Good. And now let me run it again. And let's come to car1. Oh, sorry. It's an instance method, so dot. Alright, so let's go. So now we have the person will drive the car. Okay, so the person will drive the car, or the person will drive the petrol car. You see, so with the help of this main instant method, which is our constructor, and also with the help of this instant method, we are able to do this, isn't it? This is fine. This is normal programming. And this is what we call the object and what the classes, which is the object-oriented program. But now, how do we apply what we call inheritance? That is why I say take it as if this is the parent class. So now this is the parent class. But what if we have a child class. Okay, we have what? A child class. Like, let's say for instance, this particular class which has this instance method, we could have different what, cars. Okay, different cars that we can what, still let it fall between what, this particular parent car class, because this is the main base class or the parent class, and there could be different types of cars, isn't it? So that different type of class, they need to also have their own class. Then we can connect their properties or attributes, for instance the windows, the doors, because we don't need to repeat all these things. At the same time, in the other classes like Tesla, BMW, like those car types, you understand? So the key thing is, the whole idea is we call something inheritance. So you the parent, you don't inherit from the child, but the child inherits from you. So what we are going to do is mean that with this main class, car becomes the parent what, class. Now once we have this parent class, we will have child class which will inherit from this parent. You get the logic? So let's see how the inheritance works. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is, here I'll come here and I will say, let's say class Tesla. Okay, so inside Tesla, now I will pass my car, which is the main or the base or the parent what class, this one. So you see how I'm doing it. So I'll be able to use its what properties or its parameters or attributes. So now when I come here, I'll say class Tesla. Inside Tesla, I have the what, the parent class there. And now once I come here, all that I need to do is just bring my what, my constructor. Do not forget, because this is also another class. This entire Tesla class is another class, but the reason you are bringing the car here is because you want to use this parent what class. And now for you to use the parent class, this is how we set it. And now once you set it like this, all you need is, since you are still working with another class, this Tesla, which is a child class, you need to still work with what, the constructor, which is also one of the instance what methods. So the constructor we define, then we bring the underscore init underscore, then bracket open, bracket close. Now save ourselves. Now here we are going to pass what, all these instance, all these what parameters, these parameters we are going to pass them here inside this one here. Okay, but we will be using s what, s self and all that here. So see the difference. So we are saying that this constructor is for this particular Tesla. So this entire thing is for this Tesla, and we can go ahead and even add another one. You see the difference? So we can say Tesla is self-driving. So we can say self is underscore, let's say self-driving. Okay, so we are saying that Tesla is self-driving. So we added another parameter. You see, we've added another parameter to what? To Tesla class. Remember, this parameter is not included in the main class, because the reason is because we could have like these type of cars, Tesla, Benz, BMW, like Jeep, they all could have this kind of feature, isn't it? The engine type, the doors, and the windows, correct? But when we come to each individual attributes, they could be different. We could have this Tesla car could be having a self-driving car. It could have a different, like a camera, anything that is different. You understand? So that's why we have its own class, and inside this class we call the parent class, and then we set its own attributes. And because we are using the parent class, we bring the parent attributes, and then don't forget the self as well, which I said it can be any name, but for good practice always use the self. And then we use the self is underscore self-driving. This is also another parameter we just added. All right, then we just bring our colon, and inside this, now check something. We are going to inherit from this parent class. Okay, so all that, because we are going to deal with one child who is going to inherit from the parent, we'll use what we call super method, this one. Now inside this we will say super dot, then we bring our init. Okay, init underscore. Sorry, I didn't bring the underscore here. Underscore. Okay. Now, super. So you see that here, I'm saying that def blah blah blah. Now you understand this line. Now the next line is because we are going to set only one one child to inherit from this parent class. Okay, we are saying that we use super. But if it's multiple child inheriting from the parent, then we'll do a different thing. We'll look at that one later. So what I will do here is I will just say init, then into bracket. What do? I pass this. What does the parent has? The parent has what? This attributes or these parameters. So I'll pass what the parent has here. Okay, so I'll pass them here. Now once I pass them here, all that I will do is I'll come down here. Now since this one doesn't have the self, I will need to bring this one here, and then I will say self dot, then I'll bring this is equal to this. You see? So I'm saying that now for me to repeat all this and say self dot windows, so instead of this, okay, instead of this, I could have said self dot, then I'll bring windows here, self, and the next line self dot doors, self dot engine type, self dot is, and not like this. We just need to do something like this, okay, with the help of the super method dot, then the init, we call this. Once we say super, okay, it means we want to use the super class or the parent class or the base class, and automatically it will pick this entire thing. And with the help of the super and then the init, we get everything here. So that's why, so with the super, instead of the self, for us to bring all this, we'll use the super dot, then bring the init, then bring all the what? The attributes that is related to the what? The parent or the base class. Okay, now once we are done, all that we need to do is we can have another function. Sorry, we can have another function. So we can have another function, let's say, because Tesla, this is Tesla, so it's self-driving action. Okay, so we say self-driving. So Tesla is self-driving, so we can have another function, then we just pass the self inside. Then here we can say print, and do not forget your f string. Okay, so inside our f string we will say Tesla supports what? Self-driving. Okay, and now inside this we will just put here, and then we say what? Is driving, this one. So we copy this here, but because we want to use this self-driving, so we need to bring what? Self dot, so we can use it. Okay, so self dot what? Is self-driving. So now when we run this, okay, when we run this child class, okay, so now this is a child class. Okay, so this is a child class now, and we have this parent class, you see. So this becomes our child class. Now when I come here and I set my object, I can say Tesla 1 is equal to Tesla. Inside the Tesla function class, I'll say, let's say 4,5, let's say it's electric. Okay, electric. And now with this electric, let's set the last one. Is it self-driving? So let's say it's true, it's self-driving. Now if I run this, okay, and I say, okay, Tesla dot self, because we want to use the instance method as well. Let's use the instance method as well. So when I say Tesla dot self-driving, okay, Tesla dot self-driving, inside it, then I should get similar to, you see, this one is the parent, how we did this, but now this one was just parent. Now we want to use this same parent class inside our child class Tesla. Now with the help of the super, this line, the super method and this particular init function, we can then be able to use what? This entire parent one class. Okay, and once we come here, we just have to call the object and then the class, and then we can use the instant method as well once we run. So self, I didn't bring the f, so let's run again. What else am I missing? One here, Tesla 1.self. Okay, so now you see we have Tesla supports self-driving. True. So Tesla supports self-driving, which is true. You see the difference? So this is how we create what we call, what, and I can even call the instance method. This one, I can even call this one. So I can say, I can come here and then I will just say Tesla 1 dot what drive, and we should see if it's electric car. Okay, so this one will help us see if it's electric car. What type is it? Is it electric car? So let's see. So dot drive. So there's a function, so I need to bring the method, open and close bracket. So you see the person will drive the electric car because the engine type is what? Electric. You see, the engine type is what? Electric. So we set it here, electric. So when we run this as well, instance method, we should get the person will drive the electric car. You see the difference? So this is basically what we call what? This is basically what we call what? Single inheritance. Okay? This is a single inheritance. Okay? This is just a single inheritance because this is the parent class, okay? And this parent, we are just one child is just doing the inheritance, isn't it? But let's look at where we can have multiple inheritance, okay? So let's look at where we can have multiple inheritance. All right, so let's come here, multiple inheritance. Okay, so now with multiple inheritance, what you need to know is when a class inherits, okay, from more than one. When a class inherits from more than one base class, and the base class is basically what? The parent class. Is that clear? The base class is basically the parent class. So we are saying that when a class inherits from more than one base class, so it means that we could have more parent class, and then that a class can inherit from more than one base class. So let's look at how this works. This multiple inheritance. Okay. All right. Now, with this multiple inheritance, what we need to do is we call something base class. Okay, which is the parent class. Now, with this base class, let's say we have class animal. Okay, class animal. Now, this animal is another parent or base class. Okay, so don't forget we define our constructor and then underscore into bracket. Now into bracket we pass ourselves and then what the name, let's say the name of the animal. That's it. We don't do anything else. Now with this, what we do is we will just say self dot what? Self dot what? Name is equal to what? Name. Do not forget this. And next we can say the animal we want it to speak. So let's say def speak. Okay, let the animal speak, and this is an instance method, so we just pass oneself here. Then inside, now we want the animal to speak. We have this constructor here, instant method 1. Instant method 2 is to speak, and here we can just print into bracket our f string inside the, no, I shouldn't bring f string here. Let's say this, and then we will say what? Subclass must implement this method. So you understand what I'm doing, okay? Subclass must implement this method. So basically, I have one base class. Inside, I have two instance methods, and at the same time, this instance method is called what? A constructor. Do not forget, this instance method is called what? A constructor. Do not forget. Always, when you have a class, you need to define a constructor. Do not forget. Okay? Now, we have this. Let's have another base class. Okay? So let's say this is our base class 1. Okay? Let's have another base class. So let's have another base class. Base class 2. Okay? Now, inside this base class, let's say we have another class called pet. Okay. Now with this part, what we are going to do is, don't forget always your constructor in it. Oh, sorry. Underscore into bracket. Now here we pass ourself, and inside ourselves we bring the what? The owner. Okay, owner of the part. So we'll be able to understand the animal and then the owner. So now with this, what I'm going to do is self dot what dot owner is equal to what? Owner, right? Now what we need to do next is we want to have what we call, now you see we have a base class, this one, we have another base class, this. Okay, so we have two base classes, and now we are going to have a child class. So you see now we have two parent classes which are our base classes. Now we are going to have a child class which is similar to what we did here, this Tesla. Okay, so we are going to have a child class, but there is going to be some difference here. This was a single inheritance, that is why you saw us using the super method. But this time around, because it's multiple inheritance, look at how I'm going to do this. So I'm saying that this is going to be our derived class. Okay, so this is going to be our derived class. Okay, and now what would the derived class be? Of course, we are talking about animals here, so let's say the child is dog, so let's say class dog. Now inside this dog, because I want to inherit from here, I will do something like this, you see. So what that I need to do is come here, remove this colon first, and inside the dog I put into bracket which is a class, and inside it I then say I pass the animal class which is a base class, comma, the pet class which is also another base class. You see the difference? Then I bring this. You see the multiple, how we are doing it? Then I come down here, do not forget your constructor. So I'll say def underscore init underscore. Now into bracket here I pass myself, comma. Now remember what we did here. We pass the parent what? Their attributes. Okay, so the same thing that we do for this one. Here, what is the attribute of these parents? Is the name and what? The owner. So we come here, name, comma, owner. You see? It's as simple as that. Now, for us to be able to use it, remember we did something here, okay? We said super blah blah blah, then we call the parent or the base class attributes or the parameters, right? But this time around, because we are dealing with multiple inheritance, we are not going to do it this way, but what we are going to do is we are going to call each base class. So we will say that animal dot, you see, so animal dot what, then we bring the what instead of the super. This time we are not going to use the super, we're going to use each base class name. So the first base class name is what? Animal. So animal dot, then don't forget your underscore what, init underscore, then into bracket what do? Self, comma, name. Okay, then now we go to the next one which will be what? Pet dot, same thing, underscore init, okay, underscore, then into bracket self, comma, what? Owner. You see how we are using it inside this child class, so we can use it anywhere. And now here I'm done with this. I can add another function if I have, let's say this dog, we want it to speak, and we know these dogs, they do whoop whoop. So let's say how the dog will do whoop whoop. So we just come here, we can define another function, speak, and inside this I can say, so you see how we set this, where is it, these two base classes here, and how we are using it in here. You see the child class. Now inside the speak I can just pass only one parameter which is a self, and here I will just return it because I'm not doing anything else. let's return. So I just say return. So return, what are we returning? We are returning the name of that particular dog, right? So basically I'm going to say f string, and inside the f string I will put my this thing, and inside it I will say the owner. Okay, and hey, sorry, we want to get a name, so I will say name. Now for me to get a name, then I'll bring my self dot. Okay, then now here I will say woof. So which dog is saying the woof woof? Then we get that particular dog. Now if I come below, now this is where the real programming comes in. I just need to create my object. So create an object. Okay, and with my object I can just say dog is equal to what? The dog, which is this child class. Okay, the dog inside it, then I can pass my parameters, and basically here our parameters is two, the name and then the pret, which is here name and owner, right? So here I will just come here and I will just pass my, let's say one is what? The name is Buddy, comma, what is the this one, the owner? Let's say the owner is Dennis. Okay, that's it. Now when I come here I can just print it, so I can say dog dot speak. Okay, I can say dog dot speak, and also I can print, and I can say print into bracket. What do I do? My f string, do not forget, inside the f string I will say owner. Owner is who? Who is the owner? Owner is the owner, right? So dog, so owner. But for me to get it, I'll bring my dog. So dog dot owner. So you see, it's like this is the child class, and inside we want to create an object so we can get our result, right? But the key logic is we have two different parent class, which is the base class 1, base class 2, and we are trying to implement what we call multiple inheritance. And with multiple inheritance, all that we need to do is come here with the help of the derived class here. We just set and we put in each base class here. So if the base class is 5, you represent all of them here, and then you can, don't forget your constructor, and then for your constructor, because it has multiple inheritance, you bring each class dot the initializer, which is the constructor, and then each attribute, and then based on that, if you want to add more functions, you could add, which we just added this instance method here. Okay, now when we run the script, okay, when we run the script, we should here, so let me print this one. So let me print this to bracket this, bracket code. Now when we run the script, we should get Buddy say woof, owner is Dennis. You understand? So let's see. So I can say owner is Dennis. Okay, so let's run this entire script. So you're getting an error here. Dog. Oh, sorry, I didn't bring the P. Okay, let's run again. Alright, so you see, Buddy say woof, owner is Dennis. You see, so the whole logic is try to understand when we say base class, how it is represented, as I showed you, how base classes are written, and now in terms of how they are written, then you try to understand how you can do a single inheritance and also a multiple inheritance. Okay, with multiple inheritance, this is how it is being represented. With single inheritance, this is how it is being represented with the help of the super method. So take note of these things, and we are done for today's session. I'll see you on Friday for the next session. And if you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you so much for the time.